Ads don't work on people. They work on people's brains. I'm Jonathan Rolley and this is the Science of Advertising show. And this week, one law of the brain runs through everything. Nothing is ever judged on its own. Everything is judged against a comparison. The brand that wins choose one comparison before the competitor does. 3 stories, including a bank that puts a $220 million bet behind a pun and never chooses a comparison at all. A 50-year-old Melbourne furniture family walks from its most valuable asset and gets thrown into the worst comparison in retail. And a $10 a month gym conquers America by setting fire to the comparison it was born into. Westpac, Adriatic versus King Living, Planet Fitness. KC, fresh from holidays, looking tanned, massive lineup today. I'm excited to unpack a few of these.
The science of advertising.
Let's cut to W.
Takes a little W.
How ho,
We
ho, ho. Just think of the things you could
double
do
me.
if instead of just one, you were double you. Oh, fun you could have, things you could do. Sorry. If instead of just one, you were double you. You could double the hands and double the legs, and double the heart and double the head. You could doubly quick and doubly smart. Oh, the things you could do, where would you start? You could get all the things done, double the work, double the fun, double
So the projections for Q4 are stronger than expected, especially with
if instead of just one, you were double you.
You okay, kiddo?
We're fine.
We're not you, but when it comes to banking, we can be your W.
The science of advertising.
KC, please unpack this for me.
Well, elaborate ad, beautifully shot to put together, thought about every little aspect, every little detail, every little bit. It kind of was a little bit insurance-y at one point of how it had all this damage stuff going through the city. But I kind of got to go back to the basics. Gain pleasure, avoid pain. What is this ad about, right? And looking at it, I kind of started to get a bit of a good feel of like, cool, it's about W, we've got your back, we're the ones behind your back, I think was kind of the point. But I kind of didn't get the ad. It's sort of, had me kind of at the beginning of like, cool, the guy's looking up, so it caught me straight away and knew something about Westpac, big brand, big 4. But the more you sort of looking at it, I'm like, cool, where are we going with this? Where are you taking me down this big, elaborate path? And I don't know that it led me anywhere. It was just a takeaway. They could have wrapped it up at the end and just sort of said something about like, you know, W, we've got your back, or, you know, Westpac, we've got you, you know, something like that. We're there when you're not there, or something like that. This
is such an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
I first noticed this on outdoor billboards. So I saw this double Y-O-U, so W. And I've seen this and I was just like, I actually was like, WTF? Like, I don't get the joke. You know, I don't get what it is. And again, sometimes I can be a little bit simple, but I didn't wrap my head around it. And then it's only when I saw this and I wanted to think about it consciously. So my subconscious didn't join the dots. If anything, I had aversion from it because I didn't get it and I didn't get the pun, which is what it is. They've got a $240 million bet, which is their ad budget, against a pun. So I can see they're sitting around, really clever people, boardroom brain, conscious brain, going, Westpac, we're a W. W. Oh, W. How clever, how smart are we? That is our next campaign, W. My challenge with this is W. What does that mean for me as a customer? Double me? How is that going to make me more financially secure? Do I trust you as a bank? That says nothing about you as a bank, as in your promise to your consumer or why I should trust you with my cash
Yep.
and the facility. So I think it's a really clever play on a pun. Marketing team are high-fiving behind. Is it connecting to consumers? I have severe doubts.
It's interesting you say that point about seeing it on the out-of-home billboards. My wife and I were driving, and I actually saw that. It was on the Balti Bridge, and I've gone, what is that? And it actually took me ages to realize that it was Westpac, right? And then again, when we looked at this to have a look at it now for the first time, I was like, what is it again? It's too clever marketing.
Totally.
It is smoked the KISS principle of keep it simple, stupid, right?
Totally.
What am I trying to do? Is this around identity theft? Is it around fraud? Is it around credit card? Is it around home loan? Is it around what is it? They've got so many levers that Westpac could have pulled on as a brand to either funnel you down into some kind of product that they're trying to sell you. There's nothing really here that says trust. What it does say though is I spent a shitload of money of your fees on an ad campaign. That it does say.
Well, it is. And if you're looking at availability heuristics or if you're looking at mental availability, it's like, are we owning banking? Is there parts of banking that we are owning? The big challenge I have with it is the W. So that's a really clever link to Westpac for the W, which is part of their long-term branded assets or their distinctive branded assets. CommBank have done the best job of this, but by a long way. Yeah. So they're trying to replicate. The playbook is right in terms of what they're trying to do. How they're tactically executing though with the W, it doesn't make sense to me.
It's too clever.
It's totally too clever.
It's too clever. And it's like you're saying, it's the creative team would have sat there going, geez, we've really got this.
Yeah.
And someone has come in and done a Donald Draper in the boardroom to sell this concept in and just gone, wow, we're really cool. But that in terms of conversion, results, what it would actually do.
Will it actually drive any branded intent, brand awareness, especially consideration? Like really interesting. It's interesting. When I was first exposed to the Telstra campaign, the whistle and the walk and the cartoon, the first thing I had from that was, this is like really dangerous because I don't recall, it doesn't link to Telstra, but the tune and the whistle all the way through. Now, the interesting thing is that is one exposure. The one element I have here is if they do this enough, will it actually bridge from, I don't know what this is for, and it's kind of that aversion piece, but do people join the dots with the pun and then go, oh, that is clever with enough media weight, with enough consistency? Because that's what happened with Telstra.
Yeah.
First exposure was that, but the more you see it and the more you hear it more so, you start linking that to Telstra and it starts to work and you see the fit.
The link with Telstra, though, where that can work better in the case of Telstra is that it is a product or a service that you always need and you don't have too many other options. You got Telstra, you got Optus, you got Vodafone, right? And it's either I need it because I need internet or whatever. Here with your bank, my reason to change would be why. My reason to stay would be why. They're not U's, but there's your double W's. Why?
But this is brand, right? So I'm a bank. I want to be known and famous in a category. So I either want to own the category. Do you know? Or
Does this own it?
No, but I want to own a category entry point.
Does this do that?
No, it doesn't. But this is where I go to. Whereas Telstra is becoming known and famous and really familiar. So when I go to the category and I see a few brands, I go, I like that one. I've got anchored emotions to that brand where it makes me feel good, feel safe, trusted. I have a high propensity to buy that brand because I have associations to it rather than going, I'm not really familiar with Optus or Vodafone or there's risk associated.
Can I challenge you on that?
You shoot.
Telstra is the leader, I would say, without looking at whatever the stats are. But I would say in Australia, Telstra, with the perception of Telstra is that they would be bigger than Optus and they would be bigger than Vodafone, right? Please correct me if those stats aren't right. They're the leader. So as the leader, to keep playing that brand leading play is one good thing because we're just staying top of mind and showing that we're trusted, right? Here we've got the big four. And plus, we've got a whole heap of other banks that are now popping up and around and doing a lot of good offers. But let's say that we're focusing on the big four. My personal opinion, CommBank is absolutely killing it with their campaigns. They are really, really clear. Even NAB is doing a pretty good job themselves, but CommBank is clear of what their offerings are, interest rates, credit cards, all those kind of things. You know exactly what they're doing and why you should go to them for. The brand plus bit across all of them is trust. I would say Westpac would almost be the challenger brand in this case. Is that the campaign you'd go with as the challenger?
No, I'm aligned. It's not the campaign I'd go with. This has high risk. This has, we feel really clever. And this is a big bet that I will strongly suggest won't pay off. If there was a linkage to product that made sense for the W, rather than going the W is their logo, rather than that's more of a product that you could own or a category entry point that you could own, I'd be all in. But no, the linkage is to a visual of the W and Westpac. So that's where I think this is the trap.
Yeah.
They've gone, I want to hero the W. So that's the W, which is clever in its own right, but too complex. I would suggest 90% of people miss the pun.
I would agree. The question I'd then ask is, you've got all the different categories that they've got to then roll this campaign across to.
Yeah.
Right? Credit card, home loans, etc. How do you tie the W into one of those?
But this is the challenge I see.
Yeah,
the W doesn't, because it doesn't fit with a product.
No.
It just fits with their own brand. They're tied up in their own world. They're not thinking about the customer. It's about them.
Yep.
Rather than making this really simple for the customer to recall and link.
A tagline or a bit of messaging in there around "we've got you" or "we're there for you" or "we're your trusted," something along those lines could have given you a segue to then link that into the various categories, and they just missed the opportunity.
No, but this is all brand. That's the play.
Yep. It's all about me.
This is more about, like, I love the song. I love all the elements to it. That's why there was a part of me that goes, this could potentially be successful with enough media weight behind it. And if this was to run for 3-4 years, if you can link this really well, at the moment, I'm a non-believer.
Yep. I'm a non-believer too.
Really good.
Yeah.
Now,
and expensive.
Incredibly expensive, but they have big budgets and they're very liberal with how they spend them. So,
yep.
This one we're about to go into, brand wars. This is one of my favorite segments. This is where we have two brands in the same category that are competing for share.
The science of advertising.
We have King Living, and we also have Adriatic, and Adriatic is a Victorian brand, so it's a Melbourne-based brand. So I remember both of these brands, and I've had experience in both of them, both in location. You know, I've bought King before and I've frequented Adriatic. So I'm going to cut to these brand wars now, and we're going to see some of the latest work over the last little while from King Living and Adriatic Furniture.
The King Living summer sale ends soon. Save up to 50% on Australian-designed, award-winning furniture. Come home to the future of furniture. Come home to King. Hurry, sale ends soon. Introducing King Cinema, designed to be the most advanced seating experience. Come home to the future of furniture. Come home to King. Hurry, final days.
Welcome to a world where style is central and quality is paramount. Welcome to your world. A world where your everyday isn't every day. Adriatic's summer sale is on now with 30, 40, 50% off.
Casey, I know you love branded retail. You've done a lot of work in retail.
I've got one question, one thing for you, Jono. Why does Adriatic just keep letting themselves down campaign after campaign after campaign?
What do you mean?
All right. Well, let's start with King and we'll come back to Adriatic, right? King, really simply, they basically say we engineer furniture that improves the way you live. Straight away, they dropped in King. They said that it is Australian design, award-winning, bang, I've got trust. and it is nicely, beautifully shot. All of their campaigns have got the kind of same structure. So you can kind of know King without knowing whether it's the cinema campaign or whether it's another type of campaign. You can get a bit of a feel from, I don't need to see the logo. I don't need to see the name because it's consistent over their various years. I'd also probably say, I'm not quite sure where King started, but they are now a global brand. So there's some probably smarts in the way that they've marketed themselves, right? Everything revolves for King around innovation, right? Whether it be modular sofas, hidden storage, and if you look at all their various campaigns, they pick kind of one or two key points of each one of their campaigns that they're running, right? Now, all of them uniquely King. Adriatic. Campaign to campaign, it changes. There's nothing consistent about them other than they're always on sale, right? I'd love to see where their numbers are actually trending in a retail space, but I think in principle, brand and retail, they've missed it. Would you like some airtime before I continue on Adriatic? Because I've got really, we could
Look, there's.
do you want to unpack King first, Jono?
Let's look at King.
Yep.
So King do branded retail incredibly well. So when I say brand is, if I'm going to a category, let's think sofas or furniture, you will have a range of brands that will jump to mind that you'll place in order of, okay, are these expensive, premium? Is this low cost, cheap? What am I actually looking for and what type of product am I actually looking for? So King, where are they anchoring and positioning themselves as the type of customer that I'm trying to attract? King, if you look at that first ad, well, I'll call branded retail because it felt like a brand ad, but it still had a 50% off. So if you look at the footage, it was slow-mo, like it was slowed down, premium, because that is what premium usually is, very slow. It's not fast. It's shot in a beautiful home. It's beautiful furniture with beautiful people in the ads. So all the anchors and the associations with King is it's premium, it's expensive, and I'm positioning ourselves up here as an expensive product, an expensive brand that's incredibly well made. They're product ads. Slow, premium, beautiful homes, but they have the promise and proof that goes with it. So it's not only we are promising that we have luxurious furniture, it's backed by 25 years. It's designed, it's manufactured, and it's engineered for lifetimes. So you've got this premium positioning. The proof behind it is their guarantee, and it's on sale. So if I'm that customer that wants high quality furniture, King is on my shopping list. Adriatic, that ad there started off with the shot of the furniture, which most furniture retailers have, especially sofas. And then it changed to this young, energetic family who was actually moving quite fast on the couch. So it actually starts to detract from that premium positioning. And then you've got the, what's the name? It's not the
butler.
Not the butler.
The doorman.
The doorman. The doorman's there with the door rope.
How his facial expression was when the kids came through there, his kind of like sigh of discontent.
It is
how I feel about that ad.
But this is similar to what we were talking about before with boardroom brain. You go, this is really clever. Let's have a doorman there because we want to feel like we're premium. But all it does is throw the audience off because we've got two systems, system one, system two, conscious, subconscious. Majority of advertising needs to be subconscious, which is why boardroom brains kill great ads or great ideas. Boardroom brains need to stay in conscious and thought, whereas subconscious, that's what we want to communicate to, and that's what King has done incredibly well. All the cues and anchors, premium. Adriatic, no. And if you go back to previous ads, they leveraged humor incredibly well. I remember when I was in radio, I was working at ARM, and I remember hearing the Adriatic ads, and I thought they were so clever and they were funny, but I was like, whoa, this feels like a high-end premium brand, but it's the furniture the rich people don't want you to know about at that cheap price. And I'm like, it feels like I'm in on a secret. And they did it so well, but it feels like they've lost their heritage. They've lost their way.
So out of the two brands, right, King very clearly, above their consistency of all, is really about something worth keeping, where living is king, right? That's kind of how they keep it. You've got that aspirational brand, and then it's like, and it really hones in on the quality, right? It's, as we said before, Aussie made, well designed, gives you a couple of selling benefit points of why I would buy King.
Yeah.
Just in case I've forgotten that King is really good because I'm new to the market, right? Adriatic, on the contrary, has got no consistency. The retail messaging was completely weak. 30, 40, 50% off. Which one of it is it? Are you just trying to, the more I come in, unless I buy, you're going to discount me more? One says, King says aspiration. This is where I want to be. All Adriatic says to me there is, that's just where I'm going to buy a cheap couch.
Yeah.
Right? Now, of the two brands, and this one probably particularly comes close to me because being of Italian background, right? I would say that Adriatic actually has a better brand story to tell, right? Now, what do we all want? Furniture, when we look at the breakdown of an ad, is it a gain pleasure or is it an avoid pain? Furniture is a gain pleasure, right? Because we want to live in that nice environment. We want the home to look good, right? Because otherwise, if you're not buying either of those two and you're really at the bare bones basic, you're going to go to Amart or Kmart or any one of those kind of retailers if you're at the bottom end. Here, we're trying to they're really competitors, right? The Italians, they've got, from the Adriatic, the name says it itself, right? Italy is one of the most renowned countries for food, lifestyle, family, sea, holidays, espresso or the latest kind of wording that's coming around the Italian phase of dolce far niente, which is the sweetness of doing nothing, right? Which is what we all aspire to when we're living in the hamster wheel day to day, right? You want to go, you want to sit there, have a wine, have a coffee, relax. There's so much you could tip into there for that brand, of which none of those levers are. I believe they're 3 or 4, a few generations deep in Victoria, Adriatic are. There's so much heritage you could go into that gives you trust. We're bringing you the Italian way.
But I think this is positioning, and this is where King have been really consistent for 20 or 30 years. The framework hasn't changed. It's branded retail, but it's the same positioning time and time again. If you look at the line, exclusive, yes, expensive, no. I actually love that tag. Like, I love it. But what this ad doesn't show me, that this is exclusive with how it's shot, with how it's portrayed in the minds of the creative directors. Oh, we've got a doorman there because that's exclusive. That is boardroom brain thinking. It is not consumer representation. Or how do we file away memories or position brands in that schema that we have in the neural networks?
That doorman could have been positioned in a total different way to make that concept work really well.
How?
Well, because if we actually show that it is exclusive, we can then show that we've got this exclusive at a good price, right? Which is what they were trying to convey. What they missed there is the bits before it were not exclusive at all. There was nothing spoken about craftsmanship. Now you've just said that you like the exclusive, yes, expensive, no. Now I'm impartial to it, but I would say it's completely subjective. What was exclusive about that? And what do you think is exclusive about that brand?
So I will go to their ads from 20 years ago. That is exactly how they position it, and the tagline anchored it. The positioning I love, the execution I don't. So I'm not saying this execution did a great job of that by any stretch of the imagination. I just think the positioning needs to go head to head with King, because same with King. Like King, most of their ads, it's 50% off. I don't know if this is a $20,000 couch or a $5,000 couch, but I'm going to go check and have a look, and at least I'm visiting that 2 or 3 brands, or King is in my consideration set to have a look.
King have been consistent on it with their brand positioning, right? Adriatic, I mean, I'd love to see how they're going from a sales perspective, where they're in terms of how their results are going. But I would pick that as one of the brands that you could be one of the most easiest retail brands to turn positive.
How would you if this was, you were to wave your magic wand, Casey, what would you do differently
Well, there's
this
two
around.
parts to splitting that out, right? If you're going to channel down the angle of exclusive, yes, expensive, no, we need to show
Well,
that
stop
we're
there. Is that something you would look at, or would you go in a different direction? Because that is their heritage. That is what they were famous for. You know, let's call it 20 years ago.
I'd question whether they're known anymore. I think they were.
They were.
I think they were. So that would then normally I wouldn't touch a tagline like that straight away. I'd look at it later. But it's probably there's such a disconnect from where that brand was and all of that brand's heritage, which I think in most people across the last 5 to 10 years would completely have forgotten about. I would dial into the heritage first and keep that as part of the brand messaging. Basic things like, Mediterranean influence, European craftsmanship, all those kind of words that you can sort of use in there to bring into it, multi-generation furniture makers, all those kind of trust pieces. That's your heritage and that's your brand that needs to be brought back in. Then we can bring in the retail offer. Because right now, the bid up front doesn't make sense and then we're just slapping on a retail offer. It's not a good brand and it's not a good retail offer either. It sort of sits in no man's land between them.
This is retail positioning and this is the formula. So if you look at what King have done, they've done an incredible job of perceived value. So this is your brand piece, if you want to call it that. Where do they fit with IKEA? Where do they fit with Plush? Where do they fit with Nick Scali? Where do they fit with Adriatic? And this links to identity. So KC, I'd imagine your home would be quite crisp, clean, and you'd like some reasonable pieces of furniture because if someone came to your house, you'd be quite proud. So you'd want your furniture to reflect who you are as an individual. It's the same as the type of car you drive. So where is the perceived value? This is a brand work and how you position it. King's done a phenomenal job. Right now, if I was to position King on a map of high value, higher status, or more premium furniture to Adriatic, Adriatic's probably slipping down closer to an A-Mart than it is a King. And that is the challenge for that brand because historically it hasn't
The challenge there is going to be really King, you know where you are or who you are. It really it makes you aspire to live a certain way. And if you aspire to that, I can connect myself as I'm the customer for that brand. Then it's a case of working out roughly the price, is it within my thing, right? So in the case of King, we've got an aspirational, nice, really clear, you can see it. And then, oh, wow, it's at a better price than I thought. The challenge Adriatic has got here is that they're going the opposite way. It's actually completely the other way around, right? They're looking cheap, but then their price is going to be basically about the same as King, same as Scali.
Correct.
So you've changed the perception because people are going to be expecting an A-Mart price, but you're probably double or triple.
Correct.
And therefore, from a brand, you're then forced to change the perception of your brand because you're constantly going to have to keep discounting, in the retail messaging, your advertising, to get people in the door. But then once they're actually in the door, you're going to have to discount further. And that just erodes margins. Whoever's been thinking around these Adriatic strategies, it's whether it's the marketing team, whether it is the agency, someone is asleep there and not really thinking about this properly.
Correct. So to break this down, you've got perceived value divided by price. So what you're unpacking there is my perceived value for Adriatic is not that high. So if I go there and I see these high prices, there feels like a disconnect because it hasn't been positioned that way. And then believable offer. So that's really your discount. Now, the interesting thing about believable offer, there was a mattress company that I met with, this is probably 10 years ago. So they were a direct-to-consumer brand. This is before a Corsa and Koala really took off, and they weren't a mattress in the box, but they were a direct-to-consumer style model with these big discounts. Every mattress retailer, so your Snooze, your 40 Winks, they go 40, 50% off all the time. This brand wanted to be different. So they wanted to go to 70 to 80% off, but no one knew who they were and they had no positioning in market. So nothing exists in Solus. We compare everything. Every human compares and there's a map. They need something to anchor from to go, where do you sit compared to what my baseline is? This brand had no baseline. So I walked in there and they saw these extraordinary prices, $10,000 mattress, but then it was 80% off. So the perceived value was a miss because I didn't know the brand and I didn't trust it. How do you charge $10,000 for this mattress and then 80% off? No one bought because it felt unbelievable. It's not true. This is too good to be true, and I feel like it's very misleading. On the flip side, Adriatic, opportunity, increase perceived value.
Well, the opportunity there is, I'd say Adriatic is one of the most evocative names in Australian retail, right? Because instantly, whether you think of furniture or not, you otherwise think of Italy, slow living, family lunches, European beaches, summers, whatever. Adriatic plays to so many things. The name is there. The heritage is there in the brand. Dial into it, and that gives you your perceived value straight away off the bat. It's just completely missed, right? Whereas the way it currently is, King Living sort of makes me aspire to live a certain way. The current Adriatic ad tells me I can afford the furniture.
Yeah.
I've got no aspiration.
But that's more in the production itself, because I'd say like there's the concept, yes, but the way it's actually executed feels cheap, even though on a script or storyboard, it's positioned as Dorman premium, where there's huge disconnects.
This would have looked really good on a storyboard, potentially.
Yeah. Or it felt clever on a storyboard. I can't see that moving the needle from a retail perspective. And I think the brand has continued to go backwards over the last bit. And the only thing I can say is the reason for the brand going backwards, because I've been in their stores, they've actually got great product. There's probably better choice, better things than King, but it's really from a marketing perspective. They themselves have changed the perception of their brand to the consumer, who now doesn't know them, won't consider them, and probably only rests with my grandparents' era. Yeah.
And that is the fault of the internal marketing team at Adriatic.
But this is the challenge and the opportunity for any brand.
I'd actually say it's the really easiest opportunity for Adriatic, because the benchmark's so low, you can quickly turn that brand around really quickly to raise their perception.
You definitely could, but I think this is the challenge and the opportunity for every brand. Your brand doesn't exist in solace. It exists in a network, and you're comparing everything. Comparator, humans compare everything.
Yep.
So as we look to the next segment, which is going to be Planet Fitness, this is what they did.
The science of advertising.
And I love this execution. This is an amazing playbook. But the research from Planet Fitness links to their positioning. So gyms, there's lots of them. They all do really similar type of, there's gym equipment there. I want to get healthy. I want to get fit. Planet Fitness was different. They go, that is the cluttered market. That is where everyone is running. Where is the opportunity? We want to talk to the 80% of consumers that don't have gym memberships. We want to talk to the 80% that have a genuine fear about going to a gym and either feeling really self-conscious about their body or feeling apprehensive that I don't know how to use the equipment. And this is the anxiety that a lot of people have when going to gym or from even thinking about joining a gym. That is the opportunity they saw. And this is how they brought it to life in the US.
So, what do you do for a living?
I lift things up and put them down.
Excuse me?
I lift things up and put them down.
Okay, here's the strength circuit.
I lift things up and put them down.
Over here,
I lift things up and put them down.
And this is our stretching area.
I lift things up. Dum 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 dum. Cool.
Hey, hottie.
Looking hot.
Me hot. You're hot.
Your bod is so hot.
Your bod? So hot.
You guys want to grab something hot from somewhere totally hot?
That sounds so hot.
So hot.
And that's why I don't like gyms.
Well, we're not a gym. We're Planet Fitness.
No gym intimidation, no lunks, just $10 a month. We're not a gym, we're Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness for just $10 down at the club or online. Offer ends January 31st.
I just can't see myself at Planet Fitness. I mean, literally, there aren't enough mirrors. Because I need to be looking at me, 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 looking at you, to see if you're looking at me. And that means you won't be seeing me there anytime soon.
Good, because we're Planet Fitness, a place for everyone else. Planet Fitness, the judgment-free zone.
Look, I love these for so many different reasons. Casey, I know you don't have the American background and you probably haven't seen these, but like, talk to me about, as a creative director, what do you see in these assets?
I love these because everyone else, there's a couple of things I love about it. As you know, John, I love block bold colors, right? Because they stand out more. The playing in on those retro colors really brings us back. Whereas what everyone else is doing in the space is saying, this is who we are.
Mm.
They are very clearly saying, this is what we're not, and that's why we're for you. I reckon they're sensational. Every one of them. Personally, I love the Arnie interpretation. I lift things up. It's the accent that really gets it for me. I love them. It just quickly grabs you. You're like, what is this about? It is so ridiculously stupid. It's got the kind of the clickbait, the engagement, the where's this going? It is comic. Straight away, I know it is comical before I 100% know what it's about, but you get to it really quickly.
Yeah.
And then you come in with that offer. It clearly tells you who my customer is by showing you. It's a show me, don't tell me.
Yeah.
And then it gives me an incredible offer. Now, I'm sure it might be a bit, that's $10 US, so it's probably a different price here. But either way, it really tells you this is the gym, this is the type, the order of the customer. It is not for the gym junkie. It does not have to have the latest techno gym equipment in there. It is for you if you think you want to just do something so that you make yourself feel good that you go into the gym. That's who their customer is, from what I can see.
This is one of the best branded retail playbooks that you could ever see. They knew who their customer was. They shaped the asset, but comparator, this is who we are and this is who we're not. And these are the type of people that aren't welcome at our gyms.
Yeah.
You name a gym that says, I don't want these people as members. They've drawn a line in the sand. But the one thing I love about the execution, and the execution is critical. The idea is great. But the execution, they've made them into, I'll call them like likable villains.
Yeah.
They're caricatures. They're actually so exaggerated. That's where the humor sits and the entertainment sits, rather than making them out to be a real villain that you just don't like. You like all of these characters because they're so exaggerated in a playful way. The scripts, there's actually few words in these scripts. There's not much in there. You get what's going on. They're not complicated. But it sets up this contrast, which I love. I love contrast.
And they've nailed brand and retail really clearly, simple proposition. We spoke about this on a couple of episodes ago on the characters and animation that a lot of brands have tried to go into by bringing in 3D or cartoon characters, right? I'm a firm believer that what we found is people believe people. Here, you really clearly believe that. They could have put a character in. They could have made someone that looks like, what was that, Popeye kind of 3D character in there as a gym. They didn't. They actually chose real people.
Yeah.
You can relate to that so much quicker, so much better. And they weren't offensive to them, but they've dialed into the humor. I'd say they and that's just 3 of them there, and I've seen plenty more of them because they've been running this structure for a while. They have nailed the execution on every one of them.
But similar with King, they've run this playbook for like 20 years. They've recently changed in the US, but they also, if you look at their distinctive brand assets, $10 became one of them because they were so consistent with their $10 a month. Forever, you just knew. And the comparator, if I go to a gym and they're trying to sell me on a $40 a month program or a $20 a week, it's like, shit, I could go to Planet Fitness for 10. Like, why would I sign up to $10 a week when I can do $10 a month? So the comparator is not only Gym A, and this is who we are, it's price. And they've owned that low price position that sits mass and your non-gym hardcore user. So like everything about it is seamless.
And for your person that goes once a week or a couple of times a month, that's not your, 3, 4, 5 times a week gym person, They clearly make it approachable and acceptable to you. And more importantly, as you said around King, I would say Nick Scarley as well, these brands are consistent. Like going to the gym, if you're not consistent, you're not going to get the results. Adriatic is not consistent.
No, but you barely see them or hear them these days either. So they've kind of become quite invisible. But this is also, how do you make your media dollars work really hard? Like that ad for Planet Fitness, I'll have one exposure of that. I'd argue that works 10, if not 20 times harder than virtually most ads out there in market. So I don't need as much media weight behind it because my ad hits so hard.
Yeah. Spot on.
And that's the key. One last thing with Planet Fitness. There's things that most people don't notice. You remember the character. And if you look at memory formation, character and sound always over index. So call it jingle, sonic branding, whatever you want to call it these days. So character, audio, over index, bar none. So you've got the hero, which is the likable villain, but you've also got the Planet Fitness guide or the Planet Fitness staff member that's
consistently throughout.
And that's really like your hero in the whole thing. And again, they're showing them the door. They're keeping you safe. So it actually appeals to a lot of subconscious and human needs within it. But the casting of it as well, if you look at who the potential new gym member is, they are typically a 30 to 55-year-old.
Yep.
And they are your suburban mum, your suburban dad. They are not a big buff guy. So all the subtle subconscious cues throughout the assets.
Ticks every box.
It does.
Ticks every box.
KC, final thoughts for today. We've unpacked Westpac. We've had 2 furniture retailers go head to head. One, in our view, is clearly winning. And if we were to show some numbers on Google Trends or anything like that, I think it should reinforce it, which if we've got the opportunity, we can pull those up. And the third, we've got Planet Fitness, which has just entered Australia, and it seems to be taking the market by storm. What's your final takeaway? What's your summary?
My summary on all of these is consistency is key in all the messaging. It's not about the biggest budget. It is not about how clever you can be, how creative you can be. It is about consistency is key here.
Why is consistency key?
Because consistency needs to cement your position in the market. Where is your perception of the perception of value and where are you at a price point, right? As long as people can make that connection, doesn't matter whether you're Rolls Royce or BYD cars, whether you're Planet Fitness or whether you're Fitness First, right? That brand perception and perception is reality, right? Where the brand is perceived, where it sits, and then where it sits as a price point, right? And again, we're in a fairly tough market at the moment, right? You get those two right, you've got your customer. Doesn't matter where, in which vertical, where they sit, and in what demographic they sit. They clearly know who I am, who my customer is, and that's the most important bit. And do it consistently. Don't chop and change.
It is. And I think there's 3 for me. One, if you're in retail and you're going to discount, which unfortunately that is what retail has been conditioned for. If you're going to be the high value, but at high discount like King, do a great job of positioning it like they did in their ad, but it's at a 50% discount, but it doesn't feel like a discount retailer.
Did not at all. It didn't feel that Adriatic 30, 40, 50 was just
cheap. It feels
you know what, Jono? On Adriatic, I'm speechless.
You're speechless.
Campaign. I see it just, I know you've got me here to come and talk about it, but it leaves me speechless really internally.
It seems like it hurts your soul. As an Italian, you're saying an Italian name.
It's because I'm Italian. It's an Italian
You've just
brand.
come back from holidays.
I've just come back from Italy, and you look at it and you go, and it was interesting that you brought this up as the first topic there's a campaign to talk about today being Adriatic off the back of it, because I did give them a lot of thought, and I just thought they're just leaving money on the table.
I think they're leaving money, but more so opportunity, but legacy. Right now, I think there's an opportunity for them to carry this on for another 50 years, but right now there's a misstep. They're not known. If I was to ask any of my peers if you were going to go buy a couch, where would it be, or furniture, Adriatic wouldn't be anywhere on the list. I think they've done a good job of what I'll call boomers now. Do you know, it's kind of, especially if you're looking at your Italian.
Unless they change something rapidly now, Adriatic is a dying brand.
Well, there's your headline, isn't it? Adriatic's a dying brand unless they change something now. So that's a big statement, KC. Other key takeaways from today, if I'm looking at branded retail, which is what it is, 2 things. You need to be able to position your brand against all other competitors and stand for something. Comparator is key. No one analyzes anything in Solus. It's always either in ad or format, but it's either in schema or perception of other brands in market. So branded retail, position your brand really well. If you are going to discount, either own a price like Planet Fitness has done, or position well, discount.
Yep.
And away we go. KC, thank you for joining us on the Science of Advertising show. Until next time, this is Jonathan Rolley, and this is the Science of Advertising show.
The science of advertising.